The complete Stoic family survival system. Why toxic family is different: biological attachment, social pressure, and inescapability. The normal advice does not apply. 5 types: narcissistic parent, controlling system, guilt-based, chaotic, dismissive. Each requires a specific response. The guilt is not yours. You did not choose this family. You are the first person in the system honest enough to see it clearly. 8 tools: pre-entry protocol, minimum viable presence, information diet, guilt interrupt, role refusal, recovery ritual, perspective reset, identity anchor. 3 conversations: when they notice your distance, when you need to name a limit, when others ask why you have changed. What you have that Marcus Aurelius never did: the knowledge that you are ending a cycle that has been repeating for generations. Your family may never change. The toxic parent may never acknowledge what they did. The controlling system may never release you fully. The guilt may arrive at every holiday for the rest of your life. And yet, none of that determines who you are. None of that determines how you treat the people you choose to love. None of that determines what you pass forward. Marcus Aurelius lived surrounded by people who tried to define him by their needs, their fears, and their limitations. He wrote, in the final pages of the Meditations, return to yourself. Not to your family's version of you. Not to the role you were assigned. Not to the story that was written about you before you were old enough to write your own. To yourself. That return, however many times it takes, is the complete Stoic response to toxic family. If this gave you something real, share it with someone who needed permission to feel what they have been feeling. Subscribe to Memento Sapiens. Every week, ancient wisdom for the life you are actually living. Remember to be wise. Memento Sapiens. Welcome to Memento Sapiens, ancient wisdom for the modern mind. Today we go into the most painful and most misunderstood territory in the world of toxic relationships. Toxic family. Not toxic people you chose, toxic people you were assigned to at birth. People whose presence in your life is not optional, not temporary, and not something that philosophy typically addresses with the honesty it deserves. This video is not about cutting people off. It is not about estrangement. It is about something far more difficult and far more useful for most people: how to remain whole, healthy, and psychologically free, while still being present in a family system that has been toxic for longer than you have been alive. Marcus Aurelius lived this, and he left us the complete blueprint. This is the Stoic Family Survival System. Part 1. Why toxic family is fundamentally different, and why all the normal advice fails. When a friend becomes toxic, you can distance yourself gradually without major consequences. When a romantic partner becomes toxic, you can end the relationship, painfully, but completely. When a colleague becomes toxic, you can change jobs, request a transfer, or simply limit interactions to what is professionally necessary. But when a family member is toxic, your mother, your father, your sibling, your in-law, none of those exits are clean. None of them are without enormous cost. There are 3 reasons toxic family hits differently. First, biological and psychological attachment. The bonds formed with primary caregivers in early childhood are not simply emotional connections. They are neurological structures. The brain of a child is literally built around the primary attachment figures, regardless of whether those figures were healthy or harmful. This means that walking away from a toxic parent is not just an emotional loss. It is a neurological disruption of structures that have been present since before you had language. The guilt, the grief, the pullback. These are not signs that you are weak or confused. They are signs that you are human, that your nervous system was built around this person before you had any choice in the matter. Second, social and cultural pressure. In almost every culture on Earth, the family bond is treated as sacred. Filial loyalty is not just expected, it is morally coded as fundamental to being a good person. This means that recognizing your family is toxic and acting on that recognition puts you in direct conflict not just with the family members themselves, but with deeply internalized beliefs about what makes you a good son, daughter, sibling, or spouse. The pressure is not just external. It lives inside you. And that internal pressure is often more powerful than anything the toxic family member could say directly. Third, inescapability. Even if you achieve physical distance, through moving away, limiting visits, or reducing contact, the toxic family system tends to follow you. Through other family members who report back, through guilt during holidays, through the internalized voice of the toxic parent that continues to narrate your self-perception long after you have stopped answering their calls. Marcus Aurelius addressed each of these realities with extraordinary precision. He wrote, "The first rule is to keep an untroubled spirit. The second is to look things in the face and know them for what they are." He is giving us the sequence. First, stabilize your internal world. Second, see the situation with complete accuracy. Not, "My family is perfect, and I am overreacting." Not, "My family is irredeemably broken, and I am trapped forever." But, "This is what is happening. This is its effect on me. And this is what I can do, right now, to remain myself within it." That is the Stoic starting point for toxic family survival. Part 2. The 5 types of toxic family, and the specific Stoic response each one requires. Toxic family is not one thing. It comes in 5 distinct patterns, each with its own mechanism, its own effect on you, and its own specific Stoic response. Type 1. The narcissistic parent. This is perhaps the most widely recognized and most comprehensively damaging form of toxic family. The narcissistic parent treats the child, regardless of age, as an extension of themselves, not as a separate person with their own needs, identity, and trajectory. As a reflection, when you succeed, it is their success. When you struggle, it is your failure, and somehow also a reflection on them. The specific damage of the narcissistic parent is not primarily emotional. It is identity-based. Children of narcissistic parents often reach adulthood without a clear sense of who they are separate from their parents' narrative about them. The Stoic response: build your identity explicitly and deliberately, through written values, daily alignment practices, and conscious separation of your parents' narrative about you from your own observed reality. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Applied here, you have power over the story you tell about yourself, regardless of the story your parent tells. Type 2. The controlling family system. This is when the toxicity is not located in a single person, but in the family system itself. Rules that are never spoken, but always enforced. Roles that were assigned in childhood and have never been updated. Expectations that constrain every adult family member while pretending to be simply how we do things. The specific damage: the controlling family system makes it almost impossible to grow, change, or differentiate, because any evolution is perceived as a threat to the system. The Stoic response: distinguish clearly between the system's expectations and your own values. Where they align, participate willingly. Where they conflict, maintain your values quietly and consistently, without requiring the system's permission to do so. Type 3. The guilt-based family. This is the family where love is conditional, expressed fully when you comply and withdrawn strategically when you do not. Where guilt is the primary currency of relationship. Where, after everything I have done for you, is the sentence that ends every disagreement. The specific damage: the guilt-based family creates adults who cannot say no without experiencing it as an act of violence against someone they love. The Stoic response: Marcus Aurelius's guilt test. Did I violate my own values, or someone's expectation of me? If it is the second, the guilt is not yours to carry. Return it, silently, every time it arrives. Type 4. The chaotic or unstable family. This is the family where crisis is the permanent condition, where drama is the primary mode of connection, where peace is not a baseline, but an occasional interlude between emergencies, real or manufactured. The specific damage: Adults from chaotic families often develop a nervous system that is calibrated for emergency. Peace becomes uncomfortable. Stability becomes suspicious. The drama, despite being painful, is familiar, and familiarity feels like safety. The Stoic response: deliberately build stability in your own life. Routines, practices, environments that are calm and consistent. And practice what Marcus Aurelius called the philosophical pause, creating a gap between the family's chaos and your response to it. Type 5, the dismissive or neglectful family. This is the family where the toxicity is not in what they do, but in what they consistently fail to do. Where your emotional reality was never acknowledged. Where "you are too sensitive" was the response to every genuine expression of need. The specific damage: adults from dismissive families often struggle to trust their own perceptions. If no one ever confirmed that what you felt was real, you may have learned to doubt whether it is. The Stoic response: self-validation as a daily practice. Your perceptions are real. Your needs are legitimate. You do not require external confirmation of your internal reality. Marcus Aurelius self-validated every single day, in private, in writing, without requiring anyone's agreement. Part 3. The guilt of having a toxic family, and the Stoic permission you have been waiting for. Before we go into the system, we need to address the thing that stops most people from using any system at all. The guilt of recognizing your family as toxic. The voice that says, maybe I am the problem. Maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe if I tried harder, understood better, loved more, it would be different. That voice is not your conscience. It is the family system speaking through you, and it needs to be addressed directly before anything else can work. Marcus Aurelius wrote something that has never been more relevant to this specific situation. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. He is not saying your family's behavior is not happening. He is saying your interpretation of what it means about you, that you are unlovable, that you are to blame, that you are the reason the relationship has never worked. That interpretation is not fact. It is an estimate, and estimates can be revised. Here is what is actually true, based not on family mythology, but on observable reality. You did not choose this family. You were born into a system that was already broken long before you arrived. The dysfunction you grew up in predates you. Its roots are in generations of unexamined pain, unhealed wounds, and patterns that have been passed down because no one ever had the tools to stop them. That is not your fault. Recognizing that your family is toxic does not make you a bad person. It makes you the first person in the system honest enough to see it clearly. And that honesty, painful as it is the beginning of something that previous generations in your family never had access to: the ability to stop. Marcus Aurelius was the product of a deeply imperfect family system: adoptive parents, complex power dynamics, expectations that would have crushed a less deliberate man. He did not pretend his circumstances were fine. He looked at them with complete accuracy, and then he decided, with full awareness of what he had inherited, who he was going to be within it. That decision is available to you too. Not to fix your family, not to make them different, to decide who you are, regardless of what they say about you. Part 4. The Complete Stoic Family Survival System. 8 tools for people who cannot leave. These are not tips for managing family dinners. They are the structural tools for maintaining psychological freedom, complete inner independence, while still participating in a family system that has never been healthy. Tool 1. The Pre-Entry Protocol. Before any family interaction, a dinner, a phone call, a holiday visit, spend 5 minutes in deliberate preparation. Identify specifically what the interaction is likely to demand of you, which buttons are likely to be pushed, which guilt levers are likely to be activated, which role the family system will attempt to place you in. Then decide, in advance, before you arrive, who you are going to be in this interaction. Not how you are going to feel, who you are going to be. Marcus Aurelius did this every single morning with his broader life. Begin the morning by saying to thyself, I shall meet with the busybody, the ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful. He was not being pessimistic. He was removing the element of surprise, so that when the difficult behavior arrived, he responded from his decision, not from the moment's shock. Apply this to every family interaction. Arrive prepared, not armored. Prepared. Tool 2. The minimum viable presence. This is the Stoic presence applied specifically to family settings. Identify the absolute minimum level of participation required to fulfill your legitimate obligations. Not what the family system demands. Not what guilt insists upon. What you genuinely owe, as a person with your values. Then fulfill exactly that. No more. No less. This is not coldness. It is precision. You can be warm, kind, and genuinely present, while simultaneously not offering access to the parts of yourself that the toxic family member consistently uses against you. Tool 3. The information diet. Toxic family systems run on information. Specifically, your information, your vulnerabilities, your struggles, your private life. Implement a strict information diet, not as punishment, but as protection. Share functional information only. What is necessary for the relationship to operate at its appropriate level. Do not share your fears with a parent who uses your fears to control you. Do not share your successes with a sibling who responds to your success with resentment. Do not share your relationship struggles with a family member who uses that information as ammunition. Marcus Aurelius was meticulous about this in his court. He maintained different levels of information access for different people, based entirely on what they had demonstrated they would do with it. Apply the same principle to your family. Tool 4. The guilt interrupt. Every time manufactured family guilt arrives, and it will, apply the Stoic interrupt before you respond. One question: am I feeling this guilt because I have violated my own values, or because I have failed to meet someone's expectation of me? If it is your values, examine it. Take it seriously. Make the necessary correction. If it is their expectation, name it silently. This is manufactured guilt designed to produce compliance. Name it. Watch it lose power. Do not argue with the guilt. Do not justify yourself. Simply interrupt it with accurate naming and return to your decision about who you are going to be. Tool 5. The role refusal. Every toxic family system assigns roles. The scapegoat, the peacemaker, the golden child, the invisible one, the one who is always responsible for everyone else's emotional state. These roles were assigned to you without your consent, and they have been reinforced for so long that refusing them feels like a violation of the natural order. The Stoic practice: every time the family attempts to place you in your assigned role, refuse it quietly. Not dramatically, not with a speech. Simply respond differently than the role requires. If your role is to absorb blame, do not absorb it. Return it neutrally. I don't think that's accurate. If your role is to manage everyone else's emotions, do not manage them. Let the emotions exist without your intervention. Quiet, consistent refusal, over time, changes the family dynamic more effectively than any confrontation. Tool 6. The recovery ritual. After every significant toxic family interaction, build a specific recovery practice. 30 minutes minimum. Alone. Doing something that returns you to your own energy. Walking, writing, reading, exercise, silence. This is not self-indulgence. It is maintenance. Marcus Aurelius understood that the cost of engaging with difficult people is real and must be actively replenished. Without recovery, each family interaction depletes a little more of the internal reserve that makes the survival system work. With recovery built in, the depletion is finite and manageable. Tool 7. The perspective reset. Once a week, not daily, once a week, apply what the Stoics called the view from above. Zoom out from your specific family situation. See it in the context of the generations of pain that produced it. See the toxic family member not as your enemy, but as a person who has also failed. by their own family, by circumstances, by a world that did not give them what they needed to become someone who could love you the way you deserved. This is not forgiveness in the sense of excusing the behavior. It is compassion in the sense of accurate understanding. And compassionate understanding, in the Stoic tradition, reduces the power of the wound, not because the wound is less real, but because it is no longer personal. Tool 8, the identity anchor. This is the most fundamental tool in the entire system. Write down, in one clear sentence, who you are, independent of your family's definition of you, not who you are trying to become, who you already are at your best. Read it every morning before any family interaction. Read it every night after. This is your anchor. The family system will consistently attempt to pull you back into their definition of you. Smaller, more compliant, more defined by your assigned role. The identity anchor is what you return to every time the pull succeeds. Because the pull will succeed sometimes. That is not failure. Returning is success. Part 5. The 3 conversations you will inevitably need to have, and exactly how the Stoics would handle each. Conversation 1. When the toxic family member confronts you about your distance. This conversation will come when you start implementing the survival system, the reduced information sharing, the role refusal, the emotional withdrawal. The toxic family member will notice, and they will say something. You have changed. You are being cold. You don't love this family anymore. The Stoic response is not defensive. It is not explanatory. It is honest and minimal. I love this family. I am also protecting my own well-being. Those 2 things are not contradictory. Say it once. Do not repeat it. Do not justify it further. Let the silence after it speak. Conversation 2. When you need to set an explicit limit. Sometimes the toxic behavior crosses a line that cannot simply be managed with internal tools. When it becomes necessary to name a specific limit, do it with the precision Marcus Aurelius used in every significant decision. Not, you always do this and it hurts me and I need you to stop. That sentence invites argument, counter-accusation, and the inevitable, you are too sensitive. Instead, when this specific behavior happens, I will leave the room / end the call / not attend the event. This is not punishment. It is simply what I will do. Behavior, not emotion. Future action, not past grievance. Stated once, calmly, and then executed exactly as stated. Conversation 3. When someone else in the family asks why you have changed. This is often more difficult than the conversation with the toxic member themselves, because it involves people you also love and do not want to harm. The Stoic response. I am working on my own well-being. I am not asking anyone to choose sides. I am simply doing what I need to do to remain healthy. Clear, non-attacking, non-recruiting. You are not building a case against the toxic family member. You are simply describing your own choices. Marcus Aurelius never sought allies in his personal conflicts. He acted according to his own values and let others form their own conclusions. Part 6. What Marcus Aurelius never had, and why you are in a more powerful position than he was. Marcus Aurelius inherited a complex and often toxic family system. Adoptive parents, the pressures of imperial succession, family members with competing interests, none of it was chosen. But here is something Marcus Aurelius never had access to, something that you do. A framework for understanding what was happening to him. In his era, the concept of generational trauma, the way unhealed wounds pass through family systems from one generation to the next, did not exist as language. He could observe the patterns. He could respond with stoic discipline. But he could not name what he was seeing with the precision that you now can. You have something he did not. The knowledge that the toxicity in your family is not random. It is inherited. It traveled through your family tree, generation by generation, because no one before you had the tools, the language, or the permission to stop it. And here is what that means for you specifically. Every boundary you hold, however imperfectly, is a boundary that no one in your family history ever held before you. Every moment you refuse the assigned role, however briefly, is a moment that breaks a pattern that has been repeating for decades. Every time you return to your identity anchor after the family system pulls you away from it, you are doing something genuinely new in your family story. You are not just surviving a toxic family. You are ending a cycle. And that, in the Stoic tradition of living for something larger than immediate comfort, is one of the most meaningful things a human being can do. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What we do now echoes in eternity." What you are doing now, with your one difficult family, in your one difficult life, echoes forward through every person who comes after you. That is not a small thing. That is everything. Part 6. What Marcus Aurelius never had, and why you are in a more powerful position than he was. Marcus Aurelius inherited a complex and often toxic family system. Adoptive parents, the pressures of imperial succession, family members with competing interests, none of it was chosen. But here is something Marcus Aurelius never had access to, something that you do. A framework for understanding what was happening to him. In his era, the concept of generational trauma, the way unhealed wounds pass through family systems from one generation to the next, did not exist as language. He could observe the patterns. He could respond with stoic discipline. But he could not name what he was seeing with the precision that you now can. You have something he did not. The knowledge that the toxicity in your family is not random. It is inherited. It traveled through your family tree, generation by generation, because no one before you had the tools, the language, or the permission to stop it. And here is what that means for you specifically. Every boundary you hold, however imperfectly, is a boundary that no one in your family history ever held before you. Every moment you refuse the assigned role, however briefly, is a moment that breaks a pattern that has been repeating for decades. Every time you return to your identity anchor after the family system pulls you away from it, you are doing something genuinely new in your family story. You are not just surviving a toxic family. You are ending a cycle. And that, in the Stoic tradition of living for something larger than immediate comfort, is one of the most meaningful things a human being can do. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What we do now echoes in eternity." What you are doing now, with your one difficult family, in your one difficult life, echoes forward through every person who comes after you. That is not a small thing. That is everything. The complete Stoic family survival system. Why toxic family is different: biological attachment, social pressure, and inescapability. The normal advice does not apply. 5 types: narcissistic parent, controlling system, guilt-based, chaotic, dismissive. Each requires a specific response. The guilt is not yours. You did not choose this family. You are the first person in the system honest enough to see it clearly. 8 tools: pre-entry protocol, minimum viable presence, information diet, guilt interrupt, role refusal, recovery ritual, perspective reset, identity anchor. 3 conversations: when they notice your distance, when you need to name a limit, when others ask why you have changed. What you have that Marcus Aurelius never did: the knowledge that you are ending a cycle that has been repeating for generations. Your family may never change. The toxic parent may never acknowledge what they did. The controlling system may never release you fully. The guilt may arrive at every holiday for the rest of your life. And yet, none of that determines who you are. None of that determines how you treat the people you choose to love. None of that determines what you pass forward. Marcus Aurelius lived surrounded by people who tried to define him by their needs, their fears, and their limitations. He wrote, in the final pages of the Meditations, return to yourself. Not to your family's version of you. Not to the role you were assigned. Not to the story that was written about you before you were old enough to write your own. To yourself. That return, however many times it takes, is the complete Stoic response to toxic family. If this gave you something real, share it with someone who needed permission to feel what they have been feeling. Subscribe to Memento Sapiens. Every week, ancient wisdom for the life you are actually living. Remember to be wise. Memento Sapiens.